She might not describe it as a feud. I would bet that he would describe it as a feud. Donald Trump versus Letitia James. In the latest chapter, the New York Attorney General has been indicted by a federal grand jury in Virginia. James faces 2 felony charges, one for bank fraud, the other for making false statements to a financial institution. This is all about the mortgage she took out in 2020 to help her niece buy a home in Virginia. James has denied any wrongdoing, saying she just made an error while filling out a form, an error that she quickly rectified. She continues to call the charges baseless.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding, all because I did my job as the New York State Attorney General. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost.
The indictment of James comes just weeks after President Trump put pressure on the Justice Department to prosecute his political enemies. Last year, James successfully brought her business fraud case against President Trump, and he was forced to pay a hefty fine on the accusations that he had inflated the value of his company. Criminal defense attorney and former federal prosecutor with the Department of Justice, Duncan Levin, is with us now to go through some of the details on this. Duncan, good morning.
Good morning, Pat. How are you?
I'm well. I'm grateful for your insight here. I want to talk about politics in a minute, but let's just talk about the indictment itself and the legal facts here. It's a pretty simple document. I think it's 5 or 6 pages.
Yeah, I mean, there are only 2 charges. It's pretty simple. At the core of it, the DOJ is just alleging that she said that it would be a secondary residence to receive favorable mortgage terms, but she treated it as an investment property. So they've kept it very simple. It's a pretty pared down document. It looks like it was an indictment that was created by someone who's never created an indictment before. There are typos in it, and the legal theory is pretty simple and straightforward on those 2 charges.
Is it the kind of thing, assuming that the allegations are true, is this the kind of thing that would typically be prosecuted?
Mortgage fraud is a bread and butter charge. So yes, it's charged all the time, not typically as a standalone, but usually as part of another case that is brought. This is too minor of a case for the Department of Justice to actually bring on its own. State
Did I lose Duncan there? All right. We'll see if we can get Duncan back here. The case here was one that has been in the works for a while. We had heard that Trump had gotten word that this may have been a problem with his mortgage application, and then we heard the saga of who was going to prosecute it, that various officials in the Justice Department stepped down rather than push this case through. But Trump, after putting one of his personal lawyers in place to be that prosecutor in Virginia, was able to not only get someone to charge the case, but also he was able to put that in front of a grand jury and secure an indictment on these 2 counts. Duncan's back with us. Duncan, we were midway through a sentence there. I was asking you about the process on the case from here. Where does it go?
Well, at this point, it's going to go in front of a judge, in front of an arraignment. And I think we could expect much the same types of motions from the James Comey case as we see here. I think she's going to move to have the indictment dismissed as vindictive and as outrageous government conduct. Whether she succeeds on that, we'll see. But the indictment itself, is very straightforward, and the charges are simple. So I think the case will be fast-tracked towards a trial like the James Comey case is, and then the judge will allow her to put these motions in to dismiss the charges.
But can 2 things be true at the same time here? Can it be outrageous government conduct, but also that she checked a box on that form that she shouldn't have checked?
Absolutely. The core of an outrageous government conduct defense actually has nothing to do with whether the charges technically comply with the statute. There are 2 things can be true at the same time. She could actually have violated the statute, but the case can be dismissed if the government conduct is so infected by bias or by retaliation or political revenge in this case, that it really it offends the fundamental fairness clause of the United States Constitution. It's a constitutional defense at its core. It's unusual, but in this case, I think the optics of it are so clear. Trump's public threats are so clear. His open hostility is so clear. And as you were saying before, DOJ's independence was compromised by Mr. Trump's interference with what they do, that it sort of violates the presumption of the prosecutorial regularity. So I think all of those things can be true. But it's also, even though it's a simple case, it's a difficult case for DOJ to make out because of the intent element. They don't just have to show that she checked the wrong box on the paperwork. They have to show that she checked the wrong box in order to receive these favorable mortgage terms, in order to defraud the bank. And so it's not, it's a short indictment, but it's not that simple a case for them to prove. And in the context of all of this outrageous government conduct, I think she has a very good case to get this tossed out of court before it goes to a trial.
I want to come back to the political question now. You have served as a prosecutor, and there is a level of integrity to the way prosecutors work that they try not to let politics get in the way. How troubling is it to see what has happened in the last few months?
I mean, I'll say from my perspective as a former prosecutor, I've spoken to a lot of prosecutors in the past 24 hours and over the past several weeks. And I think I can say pretty confidently that this is not law enforcement. This is political revenge. This is something that shouldn't happen. And I think it's devolved. I mean, we're now seeing this all over the place, and it's troubling from the perspective of how things should work, because these core constitutional concerns that I'm talking about, due process, and the fact that states have this sovereign authority to investigate within their own jurisdiction, which is exactly what Tish James did here. These are just very troubling. It's sort of a race to the bottom, if you will.
The way state law is written, if a public official such as Letitia James is convicted of a felony, she can no longer hold her office. So the stakes are quite high, even if the charge is relatively minor. How quickly will a case like this proceed?
It's a simple case. There's really no reason for it not to proceed quickly. I'm sure she's going to want it to proceed quickly also. I think all sides are going to want it to proceed quickly. And I think in this case, while some of the defenses that she's putting forward, or she hasn't put them forward yet, but the people are talking about her putting forward, such as vindictive prosecution and outrageous government conduct, I think the judge is going to take it seriously, even though usually these are Hail Mary defenses. In this case, I think the record and the public record shows pretty clearly that she's got a very colorable claim to make out those defenses. So I think she's going to want to get in there as quickly as possible and file motions and march towards a trial where she can be cleared of all of this. But it's a very serious situation, and obviously felonies are serious however you look at them.
Duncan, I always appreciate your insights. Thank you.
My pleasure, Pat.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.